In the Catholic Church, there are a lot of confusing doctrines, and the enemies of the Church use these confusing doctrines in order to lead us away from the faith, whether it be Muslims with the Trinity and Incarnation, or Protestants with the Eucharist, or Eastern Orthodox against divine simplicity. Each of these groups will heap up a series of objections and difficulties in order to try to get you to not be Catholic anymore. So in this case, what are we supposed to do? Does the Church tell us at all how to deal with these doubts, how to deal with these objections? How are we supposed to honestly remain Catholic while we still can't answer all of these questions that are given to us? In order to believe the Catholic religion, do we need to answer all of these questions? Do we need to fully refute and respond to all of these objections? Many will answer incorrectly on all of these points and think that unless you have answers to all of the objections that you could possibly be given as a Catholic, then you cannot remain Catholic. So, because of this, they leave the Catholic Church for whatever group sowed doubt in their minds. Yet, each of these groups will not let you know that they as well have these doubts and the objections that can be wrought against them. So oftentimes these people leave those groups as well. This leads many into a vicious circle of doubting and then converting and then doubting again and then converting again. And eventually this leads to despair. But is there a solution to this issue that is given by the Catholic Church? There is. To understand this solution that the Catholic Church gives, we need to understand what faith is. Many are going to define faith as some sort of assent without any evidence. This is just not true. The Catholic Church defines faith as an assent based on extrinsic evidence. The important part of this is the extrinsic evidence part. If your father were to call you and to tell you that your house is burning down, you would probably believe him. Do you have any evidence that your house is burning down? Well, kind of. You have no intrinsic or internal evidence. You didn't go there and see with your own eyes. Rather, you have extrinsic or external evidence. You heard it through a witness. So what faith is faith is the assent to something on the basis of a witness. But was this assent reasonable? Of course it was reasonable. You have no reason to believe that your father would lie to you, so he's a credible witness, and therefore you can make some sort of strong assent on this matter. On the other hand, let's say your brother called you. Your brother's known for messing with you. Now, you don't think that he would play a prank on you that your house is burning down, but it's always in the back of your mind. So you would still accept your brother as a witness to this fact. The assent would just be less firm. So the strength of assent when it comes to faith is directly proportioned to the credibility or trustworthiness of the witness. Now imagine that the one who is witnessing was infinitely credible, who could neither deceive due to his goodness or be deceived due to his wisdom. In this case, the assent that you would have would be completely firm without any sort of doubt entering in, or at least without any doubt that should enter in. So no matter how crazy whatever you're told might be, or how confusing it might sound, you would still assent to it. Not because you understood the thing, or because you got some sort of evidence for the thing, but because of the trustworthiness of the witness. This is the notion of faith that the Catholic Church teaches. Obviously, if faith is truly on the authority of God speaking, then while doubts and difficulties and confusions may enter into your mind every day, you'll never doubt that it is true, because God says that it is true. You would rather recognize that any sort of doubt comes from the weakness of your intellect, not because the things that you're thinking about are somehow doubtful. From this, we are better able to frame how we are to deal with difficulties as Catholics. We don't deal with difficulties doubting whether it's true. We don't suspend our judgment until we've dealt with the difficulty. Rather, we already know that it is true on the basis of God revealing. So, in Catholicism, believing doesn't depend on our abilities to refute each and every objection that someone may have to the faith, or each and every doubt that enters into your mind. Rather, we have a higher certitude, a certitude higher than any sort of intrinsic evidence that we have of natural things. Rather, the certitude that we have is the certitude that comes from the witness of God revealing.
By the way, check out our Patreon. Patrons get videos 1 week earlier.